Hi, I'm attorney mediator Belinda Rackman, and I'll bet you're feeling overwhelmed. You don't know what to do or what steps to take first. You're thinking about divorce, but I know it can be very overwhelming. So here's the deal on mediation. It's appropriate for people who are honest and trust the other one, that they're saying what they earn, they're not hiding property, not lying about their income. They're honest people who just want to get a divorce. They want to avoid the drama of court, and they want to protect their children from being caught in the middle of anything ugly. If that sounds like you, then you definitely don't want to lawyer up. You want to work together with a mediator. So then the next step is to find out, is your spouse willing to work with you in mediation? So share some information that you see on my website. If something speaks to you here, there are articles, videos. There's a lot of information to share. If in fact they're willing to work with you in mediation, then the next step is to find out who should be the one to file. Who's going to be the petitioner and who's going to be the respondent? All right, why does that matter? Because the court doesn't look at one role as being the right person, the wrong person, the good person, the bad person. It's not like that. The petitioner is just who files first. Okay, why does that matter? When I started, the filing fee was around $90, and over the years it's worked its way up to where it is now, and it's $435 in San Diego County in fall of 2013. So the only difference between the petitioner and the respondent is that one side's fees have been paid and the other side has not. If you never go to court in the future, it does not matter who's the petitioner and who's the respondent. I build in a lot of backdoors into all of my agreements to make sure that people don't go to court and that there are alternatives to going to court. So the only time that it would matter who's the petitioner and who's the respondent is if you're filing something to go to court years down the road and the filing fee is no longer $435, it's $535. But that is literally the only difference between petitioner and respondent. The next thing to do is to figure out what your property is, what your debts are. There's what I call the homework forms, are downloadable forms just below this video that everybody who's getting a divorce in California has to fill out these forms, and you do too. So here's the deal. We want to organize your information so that when we're playing Let's Make a Deal, when you come to my office, we know what's on the table to be divided. Community property is anything that's been created during your marriage. A 401k, pension, retirement, investments, your house, the cars, all the things that have been purchased during your marriage from the earnings of either party. That's community property. So things you've inherited are not community property, and gifts are not community property. And if you owned it outright already before you married, that's not community property either. So we need to separate out what's community property and what's not. One of the forms, the property form, has several different columns in it. One of them is a very narrow column, and it says SEP prop, separate property. If it's husband separate property, you put an H in that column, and if it's wife's, you put a W. So as you're doing the form, you keep track of what's community and what's separate, or what you say is separate. We may have to have a conversation about that if the other person doesn't agree. All right, after you've done your homework, now we know it's on the table to be divided. You do not need to do your homework prior to meeting with me. Some couples do, and some couples don't. But the idea is that before we can make informed decisions about property division, we need to know what's on the table to be divided, and that's where your homework comes in. So that's a very good way to start organizing your information, is to download the property forms and start, looking through your files and collecting the information. Because you're working together, you do not need to put the attachments. You don't have to put your deed or your pink slip to your car. You may want to, attach the most recent bank statements just to show, what's going on with your bank accounts. So that's the second step. The first step is figuring out what role each person is going to play. The second step is starting to get your property information together. So as long as the two of you are willing to agree to come to mediation, that's the only agreement you need to have before you start. Now, some people do come in and they know down to the spoon exactly who's going to get what. But you don't have to have a complete agreement. You don't have to have an agreement about custody or visitation or property division or support. The only thing you need to have to start mediation is both of you being willing to do so. So please call me up if you need any more information. I can be reached at 760-720-9324, and when I'm not in my office, it forwards to my cell. So you can reach me almost any time. Anyway, thanks for coming by my website, and I hope to meet you soon.